Just a little impromptu talk about Cat cables and what to use with the Here Technologies equipment. The two kinds of cables that we use are Cat 5e and Cat 6. What's the difference? Cat 5e is usually a little bit thinner cable. It has less insulation. It's cheaper. Cat 6 usually has better insulation. The conductors are separated better for less cross-talking. There might be a spline running through to keep the conductors apart. All of them, Cat 5, Cat 5e, Cat 6, or anything, they always have twisted pairs inside. That you have four conductors that are actually a twisted pair, so there's actually 8 wires. Now, the difference in the cables can be the twist rate. It could be the actual thickness of the jacket that is on the wire, and it also can be whether or not the wire is stranded or solid. With our stuff, if you're going to run stuff through the wall, solid wire is better. It has a larger area. You're going to have less frequency loss, less interference, that type of thing. So solid wire in a wall, if you're rebuilding your studio, go that way with it. Stranded wire is for hookups. In other words, coming from our hub to the mixer, that type of thing. Stranded wire, it's more flexible. Cat 5e is great. It doesn't have as high a frequency, or it can't go as high as Cat 6 can. So our OCTO system works great with a Cat 5e, not Cat 5. So Cat 5e is great for things like the OCTO. I can tell you that if you've got a studio or you're building one and you've got a bunch of Cat 5e, if it's a good quality, like a Carroll cable, a West Penn, a Belden, that type of thing, you're okay, even with the Pro. If you're going to go out, like say, go on the internet and get something that you really don't know because the price is good, I'd stay away from that. You spend a lot of money on your equipment and your console and our stuff. Let's make sure that the backbone's good too. The Cat 6 is better. In fact, you can use Cat 6 in any Cat 5e situation. It's not a big deal. Cat 6, a lot of times we'll use a thicker wire. Like it'll go up to a 22 gauge, 24 to 22 gauge. Ours is 24. The big thing with Cat 6 is it has a higher frequency. The Pro is gigabit Ethernet. So the better the cable, the better off you are, shielded or unshielded. With our stuff, the basic premise is unshielded cable as whenever you deal with PoE or power over Ethernet. We don't care if it's shielded, like going from the Dante card from your computer, that doesn't matter. But once you go to a mixer and you start dealing with 48 volts or with the OCTO plus and minus 18 volts, you really don't want to terminate a shield at both ends of the cable. Okay? If you have to use shielded cable, just don't terminate one side of the shield if you punch down your own cables. How do you tell the difference between shielded and unshielded? RJ45 that is shielded, and you can actually terminate the shield right there in the crimp. Unshielded, it's just going to be clear plastic usually, or it might be black plastic, depending on who makes it. Unshielded is better for us. Another thing about punching down your own cables, make sure that the RJ45 that you're using is for the proper cable. This is a Cat 5e connector. So it's made to go on these Cat 5e wires. If it's the wrong connector, say you use just a Cat 5 connector which has 26 gauge, it's not going to crimp properly and you're going to have a kind of a strange connection there. And also the proper crimp down tool is imperative. Cat 6 can always be used in place of Cat 5.